Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's village council meeting. Shall we start with the allegiance? Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you have any visitors who are watching, have any questions or comments, please use the chat feature on YouTube or call the village office and we'll be more happy to get in touch with you. We have a roll call, please.
Sure. Shoemaker,
Here.
Vaughn.
Here.
Con.
Here.
Hofstadter.
Here.
Bowen. Here. Happy. Here.
Thank you. May we have a motion to excuse Karen Schaefer from tonight's meeting?
So move.
I'll second it.
Happy. Aye. Shoemaker.
Aye.
Con.
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
Bowen. Aye.
Thank you. And we do have Solicitor Hines joining us by phone. May we have a motion to suspend the reading of the minutes?
So moved.
Second. Hofstadter.
Aye.
Bowen. Aye. Happy. Aye. Con.
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Do you have a motion to pass?
I so move. A second. Con.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Con.
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
Happy. Aye. Bowen. Vaughn.
Thank you. Bill Resolution 2021-14, the questionable bills.
I have a question. What, was that just one vehicle that Valley View Repair fixed for the street department?
Yeah, we have this front end, all the lower ball joint, axle shaft, on the side, control arms on both sides, I want to say, there's a bunch of front end
Suspension stuff?
issue and alignment
Okay.
that is pricey.
Yep.
Any other questions? You have a motion to pay?
So move.
Second.
Happy.
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Con.
Aye.
Bowen. Vaughn.
You, Chief. Thank you. Nate.
All right, just a quick review, design review board met last week, approved the certificate of appropriateness applications that were submitted. And the planning and zoning commission also approved the variance request for the extension office. I do have a little update on the resurfacing. We received the signed contract documents back today, along with the proposal for the 241 repair. I believe the mayor talked to you at the last meeting about that. After thinking about that some more, I'm not sure we want to go the concrete route. The problem with the concrete, if you think about some surrounding towns have done crosswalks with concrete and they end up ripping them out in about 5 years because of the offsets that occur when asphalt concrete is done. They move differently, so you end up with bad joints. I think the better route would be to go with what was originally proposed in the plans, and that's a full depth repair of that section. Basically, we're pretty confident there's brick all the way across, and that's what's causing the asphalt to slide the way it is. So if we go full depth repair, build it back up with good material asphalt, we should be able to avoid the offset issue with concrete. So, better review it a little further, talk to the engineering firm some more, but that's kind of the way I'm leaning now. Just stay away from the concrete. I think long term may be better.
I think Sugar Creek's starting to see that they're at 93 and
Yep.
39 where they.
Worcester's had similar issues with crosswalks. Johnstown's got it. Yeah, there's a handful of them around, and it seems like a good warning not to do it in this climate we're in. Nothing really on airport park. I haven't heard back from Vasco on the schedule yet for the tennis and pickleball sports surface resurfacing. I will say, if you haven't been to the south end of town tonight would be a good time to go down, take a look, and you'll see what Pat and I have been talking about as far as the flooding. The baseball fields are in good shape, but virtually everything south of there is underwater right now. That's kind of what we're up against, and that means, volume's going to be pretty tough to do for a while in those low areas with as much water as we've got now. So that's kind of why we've been pushing to kind of let that end of the park revert back to nature and let it do its thing.
So the swing area, that's all flooded back in there or not?
You know, I didn't go back in there.
Okay.
I think that would be okay. That's higher.
I think I did.
That's on the higher end still. The baseball fields were in good shape. In fact, I dropped Jackson there for practice a little bit ago. So that they're in good shape, but the path that goes from the parking lot over to the ball fields,
Okay.
pretty much that's kind of the defining line.
Got it.
I think
Okay.
south of there is standing water right now. If you haven't seen it, just swim by and take
Okay.
a look at it. It's pretty obvious.
Have they put in those pollinator plants yet?
No, they haven't. No, they were working with, some Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts. What are they, Brownies, Girl Scouts, but different community organizations on that. They're making, in the elementary school, make seed bombs. They take clay, pack them full of seed, just throw them out. The clay protects them long enough to break down, and then they're planted. It's kind of a neat project. I'm sure the kids would be into that quite a bit, and mine would be. So yeah, they're working on that. And I believe the plants were coming in May, the seeds were coming in May. So they're gonna drill it, I guess, some cover crop, more appropriate cover crop, and then work on the seed plantings.
Okay.
The ODOT projects, just want to give you a couple updates. The Worcester Road culvert, kind of at the north end of town, you'll see just south of the church, there's a culvert there that crosses. ODOT's replacing that. That'll be kicking off June 21st. It was supposed to be starting up, I believe, this week actually, but it got postponed back to June 21st. September 30 completion date. The downtown signal improvement, I talked to the district and the project was, the bids were sold, the project was sold, but it had not been awarded yet. So he wasn't sure what the stance is on that, but he let us know as soon as they had contract times. And just a couple miscellaneous things. If you noticed, we had Kidron Tree Service in. They removed 5 trees, trimmed one on South Matt Anthony. And then I'm gonna work on getting stump grinding crew in to get those stumps out, cleaned up and get grass planted. And then, unfortunately, today was the earliest I could get the sweeping crew in. Buckeye Sweeping was bought out by Sweeping Companies of America. So that, I guess, caused the delay. I had a pretty hard time getting a hold of anybody, and finally they called me back and got me information late last week, and I said, yeah, come on down, we need it. They were here working today and got quite a bit of material up. Other than that, I have a couple items for executive session under personnel, and that's it.
Did you actually talk to Donner at the skate park? Or the representative?
I did not, I wasn't sure, I skipped over that, I'm sorry. Yeah, the skate park, did you guys want to set a date for the dedication, or?
Do you think the representative would want to be here for that?
I can ask, I'm not sure.
I mean, at least check with them to see
Okay.
if we can always schedule around them. I think it'd be nice.
That'd be nice if they
If
could.
they were here for it.
Okay. And then also the disc golf course was supposed to have their grand opening on Saturday, but I don't know how many of you got my email, so I had to postpone it. I apologize for the late notice on that, but,
I was there.
so maybe we could combine those like we originally talked about as well.
That'd be nice.
Okay.
Karen,
Okay, did you all receive the email about the Assured Partners, the cyber liability for, everybody received that? Currently, we are at a 5 mil limit with a retention of 15,000, cyber reception at 1 million. That's everybody gets in, hopefully together. But Karen looked over the options and she thought the first option would be the best route, is the closest to what we have now. And she just.
So I got online and I looked at this cyber deception coverage to see what exactly it covered, what we needed. So the policy covers the village's liability for a data breach or private information. is exposed or stolen by a hacker or someone else who has gained access to our computer system. There are two different kinds of liability. There's first-party liability and third-party liability. So first-party liability is essentially where we pay to hire investigators for crisis management, public relations, business interruption, that's first-party. Third-party is attorney fees, legal expenses, judgment payments, out-of-court settlements, that kind of thing. So I contacted this Amy, who's in charge of this, and asked her which this covered, and she said that it covered both of them. So the other thing that they suggest, in addition to this insurance, is three things. Ordinances limiting the types of damage for which we are liable, limiting the amount of money for which we are liable, and holding original software or hardware manufacturers liable for defects, if that's the issue, how the breach was made. So they said that the average cost of a data breach is $250 per record. So if we lost a lot of records, that's a lot of money. So,
And they're offering to pay half of what the premium is. So the best option would be $19.56 for us instead of the normal $3,000.
do we have a VPN? Do you know? Do we have a virtual private network? We do. So after all of that research, I agree. I think the first option is the best one. That's
I mean,
just my
yeah,
opinion.
there's only a few $100 difference between the first option and the third option. It's like $600. A lot better coverage.
It's just not like I'm saying. Give it to them.
Right.
Wouldn't we be bonded for a lot of that? Anyway?
Oh, no, bonds would,
The bonds just
That's
cover
cyber.
that.
like our action.
Yeah.
Maybe Bob.
Not
No,
half.
Bond.
No, a bond would not cover something like that.
I'll make a motion to approve the first option.
Second.
Humphrey,
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Poland. Okay, and the next thing, the ARAP funding that we're getting at 3 o'clock, we got their email that we've been waiting for. It's 150 pages long. So we started reading it, but we'll have more information at the next meeting.
That's
And then,
Mr. Holmes,
I don't have anything, thank you.
I have a question for Mr. Hines. Several years ago, there were several alleys that were closed in Millersburg. What would it be if somebody wanted to reopen it? I mean, the alley was divided between, the homeowners on either side, which have been paying, tax. But if somebody else wanted another route in, what would have to happen?
Well, the one thing is that anybody who's using the vacated alley for ingress and egress still has the right to use it for ingress and egress. But if you want it to be like a village street or village alley, it would have to be dedicated. Both owners would have to offer it for dedication to the village, and the village would have to accept it to maintain it as a village street or alleyway.
It's never been utilized.
I'm sorry, it's never been utilized for.
And that as an alley, as far as I know.
So why did they want it to be a village alley again?
It's only hearsay and rumor. Maybe Nate knows a little bit more, but the land that was sold, they want to build on it, but they wanted to use the alley instead of the streets that were not open either. And they never would have been closed, but they were never open, at least one, Mare Avenue.
Oh, yeah, I know where that is, yeah. I know that we vacated a lot of, those alleys that were never really alleys back in that area. That was probably 10 years ago. I think Bear was one of them, but I'm not sure. But if it's vacated, then they could build on it.
I mean, that's what the people around there want. They don't want the alley used as the right of way.
Yeah, maybe Nate remembers if that's one of the ones that we vacated back in there.
I'm pretty sure it is off the top of my head, but I think, I know what Bob's talking about. There's a developer that bought that land. I've not seen any plans on it yet, so I can't speak as to what they do or don't want to do. But my interpretation would be that if they're going to use land that they own to access or to provide access to the back part of their land, if they put it into our specs, they're offered up for dedication, that's one thing. I think Bob's question is more if they wanted to use the old alleys that were, or streets, whatever the case may be, could they do that? And I don't know how they could develop on somebody else's land without first acquiring it.
And not only that, but if they were going to finance it,
Right.
which, they almost sure they have to do. I don't think that the financing institution would allow them to do that either, right? It's because it's a cloud on the title.
Okay, thank you.
April financial reports, everybody signed, had received.
Thank you. Moving on to legislation. We'll have third reading resolution 2021-11 by title only. A resolution authorizes the sale of municipal tangible personal property. Are there any questions? May we have a motion to pass?
I so move.
I'll second.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Coffee,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Owen, Bond.
Aye.
Con.
Aye.
Thank you. Second reading resolution 2021-13 by title only. A supplemental appropriation resolution for the accumulated leave fund. Questions? Second reading of ordinance 2021-12 by title only. An ordinance granting approval and consent to the Director of the Ohio Department of Transportation to apply, maintain, repair standard longitudinal pavement markings and erect regulatory and warning signs on state highways inside village corporation limits, remove snow and ice, and use snow and ice control material on state routes inside the village corporation limits. And authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with the Director of Ohio Department of Transportation for removal and control of snow and ice on state highways inside the village corporation limits. Are there any questions?
Sorry, what was that?
Do we have any committee reports? Old business.
The parade is this Wednesday, or the caravan from Holmes Fire District number 1 to the hospital.
Starting at 4 p.m., correct?
Everybody should be there, I think, at 3:45. Members of council, decorate your cars. I think there's going to be quite a few units there with a lot of help from the chief.
Thank you again, Chief. The other old business.
Yeah, I know that we've been in COVID, but I pulled this Village of Millersburg minutes from March 26, 2018 was the first, okay, not the first, but probably the third time that we started talking about our strategic plan. I feel like if we continue to wait for the county for a strategic plan, it's never going to happen. This was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I know there are multiple council members who are very interested in getting rolling with a strategic plan. And I feel like we've got to do something. This is 3 years. We could have already done something by now.
I agree. I just talked to Arnie last week about that and set up a meeting. I don't know the date off, it's probably with them, but in June sometime is the initial kickoff meeting. I'll let you guys know when that is.
I just feel
I
like
agree
if we
100%.
wait for them, we're gonna be waiting for the next 3 years, and then we'll be 6 years out with no plan. Yeah. And I can't in good conscience go to the people of the village of Millersburg and say, we need to have a plan when we're dragging our feet for 3 years.
Any other old business? New business?
I saw or observed two things this past week that I just cringed when I saw it. From Napa Auto Parts, walking to the trailer court, southbound, there was a guy with a walker walking in the street because there's no sidewalk there. You know, and I mean, this guy's not facing traffic, it's coming around him. And I go, oh. The second one, I took my cousin, her grandson, up to the Millersburg Clinic for an appointment. And as I was going, here comes an elderly woman walking down 80th Street. There's no access by sidewalk to that clinic. And I just, at least she was facing traffic.
Well, if I may address both of those, we are extending sidewalk from Marchand up to, Union Ways. Right, so that's gonna go in this year. And I'd like next year, we'd actually put a crosswalk in over to the east side to continue sidewalk clear up to the medical building. As for the south end sidewalk, that is in the state budget, we get our funding
That's
next June.
the TAP project, that'll be 2022.
So we are working on both those projects.
22.
I thought it was 20, so it might be 23.
That's the project. We've
I
been
think that's
working
all.
on, yeah.
Yes. But yeah, but we do have both those in the works. Because I would like to see sidewalk clear up to the medical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jeff and I actually just talked about that a couple of weeks ago, probably. The one up at the hospital, I want to finish the west side up to, there's a little laid up retaining wall there, get it up to there, cross it over. But then next round or whenever we can, connect on that, where we cross it on the east side and come back down to the hospital, wherever it stops now. I think it's
Stops at the
just
hospital.
North.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to get that all, both sides. get those
Because
done.
I've actually seen a gentleman in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Go to the medical building that way.
Yeah.
Any other new business? We have motion to go into executive session, consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee.
I'll make a motion, Con.
Second one.
Con.
Aye.
Vaughn. Shoemaker.
Aye.
Poppy.
Aye.
Olin. Hofstadter.
Aye.
Thank you.